You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good afternoon, Quasar Markets Live. Good afternoon, Agnieszka. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Howard. I'm doing really well. How are you today?
I am fantastic. I was hoping today maybe we could take a step back and have you explain a little bit about what you do at a head coach and sort of what your program is and how you approach trading it as sort of a bigger entity.
Yeah, that's great. And it's a great timing because actually I just last week I had two master classes. We had such a great response that I scheduled an additional one on Saturday. So we had a lot of traders benefiting from actually the approach that I use to make sure that you stay disciplined in the market when you are watching the charts, that you don't jump into impulsive trades, and that you also stay sane, right, and take care of your well-being. And the biggest part of it is like everything that is being promoted, how to do that, how to become consistent, is focusing on discipline, right? You would say it's very logical. Trader have to be disciplined, right? But who does like discipline?
Nobody.
Let's be honest, right? Nobody, because how we grew up and how we associate discipline is something that is unpleasant and a lot of time painful, depending on your experience with discipline, right? Something that you have to do as opposed to something that is actually good for you. And we know that, yes, as traders, we definitely need discipline. But now the question is, how do you do that? How do you get yourself to do things that you are not naturally doing? Like, how do you build those good habits? And one of the things that I teach and preach is discipline without forcing, something that I call compassionate discipline.
Okay.
And when you look at the market, it's pretty much, it can be very harsh, right? You go in there with all your best intentions, you prepare yourself in the morning, you've done your work, and then you get punched in your face. Right? And it just triggers you. It's like, what did I do wrong? And then you fall into that habit of punishing yourself. I did something wrong, and you're being harsh on yourself. And that only causes you to get down into that spiral of shame, of guilt, and all the negative emotions that are causing you stress. Discipline, as we know it, is causing a lot of stress.
Right.
And it is scientifically proven that, or research shows that when you are stressed, your brain does not perform really well because it goes to places that is making you not think rationally. You become emotional, and you have much less resilience when you are stressed to take a step back, look at the market, and say what is actually going on, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the markets like right now, where you have a lot of uncertainty, where you see your setup, but then most of the time it doesn't work, or you have a breakout and it's fake out and it goes back and up, and you're like feeling kind of lost. Having that compassion and discipline for yourself and saying, you know what, I'm gonna act in my best interest here, and maybe the best interest today is for me to stay away from it and not beat myself up for it. It's like, what are you, some kind of stupid? Why don't you even know how to trade market like this, right?
All right.
But really feel good about yourself, making that decision like, okay, the best interest for me now seems like I don't exactly know how to trade it. Let me just step away. Let me take some time for me to relax, to enjoy, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And then
maybe do homework, right? There's things you can do that are going to enhance your trading without trading, right?
Exactly. And
spend time with you.
Spend time with me. Yes, absolutely.
And with a head coach.
And that's the approach that I'm teaching. That's basically the compassionate discipline. And it's very unique because if you look at trading, everyone is trying to push themselves harder, to
Right.
work harder, to put more effort into it, spend more hours, more YouTube videos, and just push, push, push. And by pushing, a lot of times you push it away from you. And you see what happens is that the more you work, the worse it gets, right? And then you're just
Yeah.
getting upset and you're like, I don't understand this. What is wrong with me? And then again, the whole spiral starts. What is wrong
Yeah.
with me?
I can tell you from experience again at Prosper Trading, where I've seen thousands of students come and go, and some very successful students that struggled for a long time figured out that they were over trading, and they cut down their hours. I only trade for an hour a day. I only
Yeah,
trade for 2 hours. I don't even look to the market till 11 o'clock. And those people
right.
usually are more successful because, like you said, they get a work balance level in. They get their habits. Another big thing you talk about is your trading habits. They become a
Right.
lot easier if you're only trading for 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day, not trying to
Yeah.
trade for 8 hours at a
Yeah.
time.
And
So
that's
I
because you
don't
don't
know you.
overload your system, right?
Yeah,
Your emotional capital. But this is something much bigger than just trading. This is really switching your mindset to the approach that you take in life.
it absolutely
Always
is.
act in your best interest, act in your benefit. And look, if you're really honest with yourself, how many times we do things in our life that are really not in our best interest, right?
Sure,
Hurt
absolutely.
our health, our mental health.
Yeah.
Um, we compromise, we try to please other people.
Or just running the same wall time after time after time. That's the one that always
Yeah,
gets me when
yeah,
I have students and clients and say,
right,
well, has that worked in the last year and a half that you've tried system X, Y, or Z? No. Well,
right.
why did you think today was going to change that streak? So
Exactly,
but that
exactly. And if working harder and pushing yourself harder would be the solution, then I wonder, like, why are not all traders successful?
right.
Because they are doing exactly that. They are pushing themselves hard. They're very ambitious people, right? And they are trying to spend more hours, but then still it doesn't work. So I'm like, that is not the approach. So I have a very structured approach to how to actually develop compassionate discipline, and that is something that I teach in my program, which is open for enrollment for another 2 days. It actually ends. The enrollment ends on Wednesday, and the link that you have shared, you can find more information. That's the Rise Up of the Profitable Trader. And you will find more information there. You can schedule your call with me. It's completely free to just learn more about the program and see if that could be something for you and for your fitting you and your goals. And also see, like, whether that approach is actually something that speaks to you, because that's very important as
Right.
well.
I mean, you just said it. If you're not happy in how your trading performance is evolving right now, and even more importantly, if you're just not happy overall, which is what a lot of traders are not right now, happy. They're not. The news is beating them down and all this stuff. I do say take the hour to attend this masterclass and learn what Agnieszka has to offer. I've been lucky enough to know her for the last almost year now. We're coming up like on
Wow.
9 months. We're like
That
old friends.
long. Wow, that's crazy.
I even give her tennis tips. But it's, in all honesty, she's done a lot to help me with my trading, and more importantly than my trading, as she said, and you talked to me right before we came on about life, is about that balance and getting a comfort level with being a trader and being a dad and a husband and all those things and balancing it all out, because I do think that that's part of the pressure we also build, right? You get into this thing that, no, if I don't do 9 hours of this a day, then I'm not working hard enough.
Exactly. And this is all where all these old beliefs are coming in, and a lot of times employee mindset, and we just try to do what we do in our life and bring that into trading and hope that it works, but it doesn't. And it does actually work against you. And this is where that we talk a lot about mindset, but this is really, it takes a shift in your thinking and your focus to start acting different way, to stop being an employee, to stop looking for securities and safety, because that's exactly what gets you in trading. It is uncertain, and you cannot start looking for safety because it will make you do crazy stuff in trading,
Right.
like removing your stop because you don't want to lose. You have
Yeah.
to be
It's
willing to get punched and
yeah.
knowing it might come. And instead of trying to avoid it, you have to prepare yourself for it. You have to have sort of a insurance, like your trading plan, and having the right mindset, skills, and the resilience to be able to handle losses and to get up and go again. So those are things that most traders do not think about, and I think that that's the biggest issue
Yeah.
with
I got to be
why some
honest.
traders are losing.
Yeah, we had on 40-year trading veteran Steve Flanagan this morning, who talked exactly to that. Is, number one, over trading, how people overtrade, and how that can
Yeah,
be a problem, and then the fact is that it isn't about, having 1,000 positions out there and working harder, because it's about, making sure that you have the right, as he said, it's setting up the trade correctly. So you know what? He expects to lose 2 or 3 times before he hits his win. Because what's
right,
going to happen is, the way he was talking about how some of the markets are asymmetrically set up right now. And he's like, I'll know whether I'm right or wrong. And he's talking Forex market. So he's in the currency.
right,
He's saying, okay, I think that the DXY, the dollar, is not going to spend much more time under this level that it's at right now, and I'm ready to start nibbling to the upside. And his thing is that I'll know if it's wrong, and I might be wrong 2 or 3 times, but because I know the level that will make me know I'm wrong, and I've got that all in my mind and ready to go, it doesn't beat him up like it does the retail trader. And in fact,
right.
he's almost looking to lose 1 or 2 times, knowing that means he's timing it right.
Yeah, because I mean, if you prepared for it, it's not going to surprise you. It's going to have a
Yeah.
completely different
Like
effect
he said,
on
he's
you.
willing to lose, 10 basis points, 10 basis points, 10 basis points to see a 400 basis point move. And
Yeah,
that's the way that he trades, and it's part of, the mindset that you have to have is, we've talked about it a lot lately. This is the time where you have to understand not to allow what was supposed to be a scalp or a day trade turn into a long-term holding, because you
right,
just allowed it to keep on going down, right? Is
right.
that a defeatist mindset that comes in, like where you just sort of give up, I guess? Because I know in the old days when I first had trouble with it, that's what it was for me. It was like, well, then I'm not even looking at you anymore. I'm not going to trade you. You can just die in my portfolio.
Yeah, this is a very, very normal response, that you either fight, you flight, or you just become indifferent, and you kind of you're like completely disconnect yourself from it because you can't handle it. So you're just like taking a distance, and you tell yourself, I don't even care, I'm not looking at it. But really, the very first thing is that this is a response that's being activated by your nervous system to protect you. And this is just gonna keep happening if you don't shift your mindset about how do you think about what is triggering that response. If
Absolutely.
you think that, and it's not just a conscious thing, because you say, oh, I don't think that, I know that I'm gonna lose. But what is it that you really believe about it? Like, what
Right.
is it that you've learned? If you tell someone, I'm gonna get a job, like tell your friend, listen, I found a great job, I'm gonna be losing money, they look at you crazy, right? Because but that's the case in trading,
Yeah.
right? I am going to be losing money, but I'm also going to be making money. And if I follow my process, in the end, the idea
I'm going to
is
be a
that
winner.
I will be making more than losing.
Right.
But just having that simple realization that you will be losing money, and that's perfectly normal if you keep your handle on it, your hand, and you say,
Right.
okay, this
Yeah.
is controlled losing money, then you don't get into that, "Oh, I'm losing money, I can't lose money," and then you start doing the crazy stuff,
Well,
you
and
know?
that's where we also see, right? Allocation becomes so important for people too, is where you see that is when people, have $5,000 in the market all in one trade, is,
Yeah.
I'm a very big believer
All or
that no
nothing.
more than 5% of any account should ever be in a trade. And you
Yeah.
should have multiple accounts. Your long term should be somewhere, your swing should be somewhere, and your scalp should be somewhere. And the three should never be on the same screen. Because it's
Yeah.
like I said, it's too easy to make a swing trade into a long term hold, or a scalp into a swing trade where that wasn't the intention.
I think that comes from misunderstanding of what is the goal. Everyone's like, yeah, of course, I want to make money. Well, what you want, if you are trading and you want to do it long term, what you really want is profit consistency, right? That is what you need in order to trade long term successfully. But profit consistency consists of two things: profit and consistency. And a lot of traders are able to make money. They have a strategy that's working and they are making money. But what they are forgetting about is they don't have this. They don't have consistency.
Right.
Only by having these two, you can actually have profit consistency. So they keep
Absolutely.
focusing on the thing that makes them money, and they keep repeating. It's like, yeah, but I can make money. I can. Yes, you can. Nobody says you cannot. Yes, you are good at this. The only thing you're missing is the other part, and then you're golden.
Right. It was like when I was in college and my father said to me, just because you have checks to a bank account doesn't mean there's cash in there for those checks. And
That's
that
so
is
good.
sort of the what you're really looking at is, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You can make more money following the following technique, whatever that technique must be. But if you don't
Right.
have consistency in it, and that goes for and it's funny because words like consistency come up all the time, I'd say, are consistent within our educational process here at Quasar Markets, but it is across everything. And that's where I find is the disconnect. Some people will be the most consistent to following their trading procedures, but then they're inconsistent with their size of their contracts or how many contracts they do.
Yeah.
Or the percentages of their risk reward that they go off of. You have to keep everything has to be consistent for you to do it. That's why I love your consistency and habit tracker that I still use to this day every day, because it's perfect for that.
I can tell you thousands of traders are using it right now. I have it consistently running on Facebook, so you can get it. So I want to give this to
make
everyone.
sure when you go to aheadcoach.com to sign up at Rise Up, under that one, that you go to the other free sections that Agnieszka has, because there are 3 or 4 different sections and different programs and parts that she gives away for free. I've taken advantage of all of them, I believe, so far, and each of them has helped me immensely. In all honesty, I started doing it just so I'd be able to talk about it, but I saw immediate improvements in my trading. And like I said, more importantly for me, it was in my attitude, just overall around life. And we talk about getting that work-life balance and that, between a trader and that, but when you have it in front of you in sort of black and white and are able to see it, is when it's kind of opens up, at least for me. I'm a visual learner, so that's when it opens.
Yes, me too. Absolutely. And just, as a closing word, like, the biggest part of consistency is remember to focus on consistency of consistently acting in your benefit.
Right.
And sometimes remember that sometimes it is counterintuitive, just like going to a dentist. It's good for you. You might not like it. It might hurt, but you know that it is in your benefit. And when trading is sometimes the same thing, you have to take the loss sometimes. And it might be uncomfortable at first, and maybe always, but if you take that small loss, it is in your benefit to stick to that risk level, to size your trade properly. Just doing this consistently, it will lead you to consistent results. Otherwise, it's all random and you become as unpredictable as the market, basically.
And then it becomes luck, not because you actually can produce consistent profits, like you said.
Right.
Thank you so much, Agnieszka. I know you're busy all this week. We'll have you back again next Monday. Thank you, like always. Everybody, take advantage of Agnieszka's offer here. Get into the masterclass and learn about what she has to offer. It's going to make you a better trader, and it's going to make you happier. That's what's important. Have a good day trading, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.